As woodworkers, we like to make gifts for special occasions, not because it's any cheaper, and certainly not because it saves any time. I think it's frankly just because we like to punish ourselves a little bit. So when my friend's birthday came up, I decided to make him a humidor. Here I'm looking for the best edge on this board to tape the level to as a reference because I don't have a joiner, so that way I can rip a clean edge and then flip it over and rip this to width. The level trick is something I picked up from April Wilkerson, Nick Ferry, or Jay Bates. After resawing the boards on the band side, I took them to the planer to bring them down to thickness. Most of this humidor is just going to be Spanish cedar, but for the top and bottom I'm using plywood, and so it looks nicer. I'm veneering a thin piece of the Spanish cedar to the top of a piece of plywood to become the top of the box. I don't have a dado stack, so I'm just using my flat grind rip blade to establish a rabbet on both sides of what will become the sides of the box to receive the top and bottom. I left them long because my planer gives quite a bit of snipe, so the first thing I did was cut the snipe off these boards, and then I cut out the long and short sides. And I'm laying this out in the same way that you would lay out a box to get a 4-grain match. I'm going to be inlaying the corners, so you won't really tell, but I just wanted to get some practice with that technique. And now I'm cutting rabbets on the sides of the box to receive what will be the front and back. While the box dries, I'm cutting the top out of that piece of plywood that has the veneer on it, and then I'm going to use the other piece that will become the bottom, and I'm just bringing these down to rough dimension, and then I'll fine fit them later. To try to get tight joints, one of the things I like to do is leave stuff long whenever possible, and then plane or cut it down until it's a nice snug fit. Now that the box is all glued up, I'm cutting out a 1/4-inch groove along each corner to receive a wenge inlay. For no particular reason, I thought it might be easiest to work from the shortest pieces to the longest pieces on the inlay. So what I did is try to get one side flush and left the other side long, and then I just trimmed them down to size. Trying to pair the wenge with my chisel was really hard because this is a super dense wood, so I decided to go ahead and give cutting the pieces to fit a try first, and this actually worked out a lot better and was significantly easier. This, without a doubt, was the scariest moment of the whole build. Taking the box I've already got quite a bit of time into, and then running it through a machine. So the trick with humidors is they're actually a box inside of a box. The reason for this is the whole concept of the humidor is to keep an internal humidity of around 70% with about a 70-degree temperature as well. Of course, wood really doesn't like to have moist on one side and dry on another. That causes warping and splitting. So what you have to do is have an external box and then a separate lining inside. And Spanish cedar is one of the few woods that handle this type of environment well. So that's why most humidors are made out of it. And if you see a different type of finish on a humidor, it's probably just veneered Spanish cedar. To make sure the lining was good and snug and had a friction fit, I used my marking knife instead of a pencil, and then just snuck up on my measurements, making repeated cuts until I got a fit that I was happy with. These hinges have a catch that makes sure the top only opens up to about 95 degrees and then stops it. So I just drilled some angle holes to give that catch room to sit inside the bottom of the box as well as the top. To get the top to fit well, I transferred where the stops were going to be so I could drill the holes for them first. Once the holes for them were drilled, then I could set the lid on top and then transfer exactly where the hinges need to be, and then draw them out and cut out the mortises for the hinges just like I did on the bottom. And the last step was drilling out a hole for the hygrometer, which is just a measuring instrument that measures relative humidity. To help keep the main box stable and from warping, I just put one coat of lacquer on the inside, and I ended up putting about 8 coats of spray lacquer on the outside just to give it a nice, durable film finish. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up button and consider subscribing. This is my first box in Humidor, so any constructive criticism will be well received in the comment box, and if you just think I did something really stupid, you can also troll me down there.